Now, I've spoken before about the culture of secrecy that lies at the heart of the Abbott government. Mr Abbott promised he would lead an open, honest, transparent, accountable government, and yet on the big issues, this government has been a black box. We have a Commission of Audit process, potentially one of the most important pieces of work to be done by a body at any time this year, a piece of work that will inform the federal budget in May, a piece of work where we know from the commissioners themselves that everything will be on the table: Medicare co-payments, cuts to the National Disability Support Pension, the privatisation of Australia Post, huge cuts to the public sector. The list goes on and on and on. And yet people are being deprived of that report. We don't shy away from a debate on the Commission of Audit process, but it has to be an open, honest and transparent debate, a debate based on facts, and a debate that clearly outlines the sort of country that we want to be. We've heard a lot of talk from this government about debt and deficit, about the ongoing budget emergency. No claims being too outrageous. According to the opposition, the country is drowning in debt. We're on track to mirror modern-day Greece. We're an international pariah. We've got a third-world economy. Last year, the Treasurer went so far as to say the cupboard is bare and there's no money left in the till, essentially saying that we were bankrupt. And it's in this context that the National Commission of Audit was established. We saw the Business Council being represented with Tony Shepherd as the chair. It's remarkable that there was no space for people from the community sector, from the health and welfare sector, from the union movement. We also had a brief from the government to the Commission that was based on two assumptions: that there was a structural deficit that must be fixed, that this could only be achieved by cutting government expenditure, that we couldn't already add to the high tax burden, and that we had to make deep cuts, starting with Australia's public sector. Now, all this might sound okay at face value, except it is based on a lie. Now, I'm not sure where Mr Smith has been, Senator Smith I should say, who's part of the committee and has heard evidence that, in fact, Australia's debt crisis is a myth. Our level of public debt is very low. Compared with other OECD countries, we're near the bottom in terms of public debt. And far from being in crisis, we're the envy of most governments across the world. It's a confected emergency. We also learnt through the inquiry that Australia's deficit makes good sense when we've got low interest rates, when infrastructure is so desperately needed, and when we have a softening jobs market. The evidence through the committee process put lie to the fact that we have a crushing tax burden. As it happens, Australia's tax take, as a percentage of our overall economy, is below OECD averages and, in fact, well below where it was when the Howard government was in power. We learnt that the public service, far from being bloated and inefficient, is actually very efficient by world standards. There's very little fat to be trimmed there. You see, the real picture about the Australian economy is at odds with what the government is saying. Economists, by and large, agree government spending's low, debt's manageable, we're a relatively low-taxing country, the cost of living is not spiralling out of control, and we have an efficient public service. Unfortunately, what we've got is we've got a Commission of Audit process where the rules have been rigged, the players have been handpicked in order to achieve a predetermined outcome, and that is a debate that serves our country very poorly.